Hey, welcome to Slow News Day Live. I'm Steve Poikinen. I'm here in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and I'm joined by my better than your co-hosts, Glory Jones and Ali Alexandra. We're stoked this morning. I've had from I think day 3 of doing this show, there have been people in my chat and in my mentions and in my inbox going, "Hey, you should talk to Derrick Broze." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I should. I mean, you're right, And like almost 300 shows later, ladies and gentlemen, Derrick Broze. Derrick, you've been doing some fantastic work the last several years, and the concept of freedom cells is something that we've talked about quite a bit, and we've had Cynthia McKinney on, and got a bunch of friends in the off-grid and homesteading and anarchist community, and yeah, I mean, you're just a name I've been hearing quite a bit over the years. I'm stoked that we get to sit down. Welcome to the show, and please tell us a little bit, kind of just about working towards the conscious resistance, and then what the greater resistance and the tech summit and whatnot was about over the weekend. I'm sure that's a lot to pack into an answer. So spread out, take your time.
Yeah, thanks, brother. I'll give you guys, I guess, a little background for those who might not be familiar with my work. As you said, my name is Derrick Broze. I'm originally from Houston, Texas. I've been involved in these various movements for about 11 years now, starting in 2010. And then starting in 2012, started to get into alternative media, independent journalism. I didn't go to school for journalism. I just sort of fell into it through my activism once I realized that the media is not doing their job, and just started to realize I enjoy putting cameras in politicians' face and chasing them down the street and that sort of fun thing. And so that started out as just from the activist side of things. Then over a while, I started writing for pretty much every alternative media website out there. I've written for Ben Swan, the Free Thought Project, a bunch of websites that used to exist that were purged. And currently I write for The Last American Vagabond with Ryan and Whitney. So I've been doing that writing side for, going on since 2012. And then in the process, I started writing books. I've written a few books, most recently, How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State, about all the stuff we're dealing with today. And it goes into Freedom Cells, and Freedom Cells is a project that I helped create in 2016, and it's now evolved into a website, freedomcells.org. That's CELLS, like the cells in your body. And we have 20,000 people plus from around the world who basically use the platform as a way to find each other. The whole goal and the kind of purpose of Freedom Cells itself is to organize and localize decentralized groups of 8 people. And there's some psychology and some group dynamics research behind the number 8 and why that's valuable. But the idea being that, let's say you start a West Houston Freedom Cell, and then somebody else, as it grows, they start an East Houston Freedom Cell, and y'all are organizing in your local neighborhoods and your communities. And this could be like making sure you have backup supply of food in case there's a freak weather, winter storm that hits Texas or something like that. Making sure that you guys have encrypted form of communication. It could be teaching each other skills like permaculture, how to grow your own food. It could be defense. It could really be used in unlimited ways. We have some people who've created Freedom Cells based on parenting or unschooling, if it's a group of parents. Some people who focus just on food, and it can be pretty much some people focus on crypto or economics and things like that. But we've just pretty much created and been promoting it for 5 years now, this decentralized way of organizing. And some people call them hives or hubs or circles or pods. I mean, the name is really irrelevant. It's just the concept that matters. And so, we've been promoting it for 4 or 5 years. And then in the last year, when COVID came along, all of a sudden people were ready to listen, because I did 2 US tours in 2017, 2018, promoting this. And some people were like, yeah, this is important. We need to do this. But by and large, the majority of people have come along in the last year now that things are looking a little crazy. People are like, maybe I should know my neighbors. Maybe I should start thinking about solutions and getting organized. And so, that evolved into the website. And the website basically just lets people create a free account, and you can go add your location, not your home location. We don't recommend anybody put your home location, but put the city you're in. And you can search on the map to find other people within 5 miles, 10, 15, 20, 100 miles. You can find pre-existing cells that already exist within your area, or you can create your own cells and then invite other people on there. And so it's really just started to explode with people organizing in India and Australia, across the US, in Mexico, where I'm at. And it's kind of taken a life of its own now. We just sort of keep the ball rolling and just keep momentum in it. But I think the time has come now. People realize that it's time to get organized. And as part of that, we launched two different kind of initiatives. One of them is the Greater Reset activation, which we did at the end of January. And basically, I'm sure your audience is familiar, like, the World Economic Forum's pushing the Great Reset, top-down centralized control, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy sort of 2030 world. And me and some friends a couple months back just started thinking, like, what can we really do about this other than let's just bitch online about it and complain about it and write articles about it, make videos? Like, what can we realistically do to try to counter this effort and this narrative? And the World Economic Forum meets every January, so they were going to be meeting in January, and we thought about it. And under normal circumstances, probably us journalists and activists would just watch what they do and then report on it. Hey, they said this thing, we need to be worried about this. But we had thought about, well, what if we don't just watch what they do and give them all our energy? What if we have a counter event? What if for a week, instead of paying attention to them, we offer solutions in these same areas where they want digital control and they want to control the food supply and they want to control this? What if we show people what it looks like to have decentralized food supply and localized food supply and permaculture and all these beautiful things? And so that's what we did in January, and it was a huge success. We had 150,000 people watching live from around the world, like just during the event, plus people watching afterwards. And it's really spurned now and created this Greater Reset activation community. We've got a pretty big Telegram channel and email list that's been growing. And so now we're just trying to keep the momentum rolling and really make it an international movement. And this weekend we had like another phase in our effort, and it was the D3 summit that you mentioned, which
I got
stands
a bunch of questions about that too.
I'm gonna wrap this one up and let you guys ask. I know I'm saying a lot here, but yeah, D3 was the Decentralized, Distributed, and Disruptive Tech Summit. So basically, trying to show people, like, yes, the World Economic Forum, they have this really scary vision that does involve blockchain and all this crazy stuff going on, and using that to control. But obviously, we each use technology for positive means as well. And so we spent the weekend trying to show, like, here's some positive use cases for blockchain, for crypto, for encryption, for privacy, et cetera. And we had, Brittany Kaiser, who was the whistleblower for Cambridge Analytica, that really exposed, what they were doing, and myself and lots of other really powerful speakers. And we posted all that. This is all totally for free. We want the information to be out there because it's important. And as you know, and I think what you want to talk about, Steve, is like there's a lot of misconceptions and lack of nuance in some of these areas of these conversations about crypto and blockchain, some of the technology. So we wanted to kind of give people who like have literally no idea what the heck any of these terms mean, like a 101, here's how to get introduced to it, but also provide some solutions for people who might be a little more informed. And yeah, so that's what D3 was. And then just to throw it out, at the end of May, we're doing the second Greater Reset. In case anybody's interested, you can find that at thegreaterreset.org. I'm going to be hosting an event down here in Mexico. We're going to have another official event in Austin, Texas, and then we'll be doing streaming, watch parties all around the world. And I mean, it's just like I said, I try to make my work, whether it's my journalism, my books, or radio show or whatnot, like solution oriented. Clearly we need to expose the problems, but I don't think there's enough people, and I haven't seen enough people in the last 10 years really focusing on tangible solutions to give people things to do. Because we can talk about the problems like any day of the week, all day long, but there's usually kind of the lack in, okay, so what do we do now? And I think with COVID and everything else going on, many more people are finally at the point where they're ready to say, okay, I need to do something for myself. I need to actually take care of myself and figure out what I'm going to do to make sure I can survive and thrive into this crazy future.
We have a kind of a parallel in that with what we did in the Assange community over the last like 100 or so weeks, where there was no movement whatsoever, no physical presence whatsoever, and there were a number of like informative and morale boosting, kind of live streams and shit like that, and they died down. And so we came in with the idea that we were going to use this as a vehicle for activism, not as a vehicle necessarily solely for education or feel good, but we've approached like this show, and then the other two shows that we're involved in with the Free Assange Vigil and Anonymous Bites Back from a place of activism. And we found some some really genuine camaraderie there with some other like quote unquote news shows or politics shows that have decided to not just talk about it, but let it be another mechanism for their activism. And I really like I think that's the only way we get to make any of this successful, is by like constantly, approaching whatever it is we do from that place of activism, because otherwise we're just like kind of interesting sounding weirdos running our yaps. And I mean, it's cool, it's entertaining, but that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that really briefly that you hit it on the nail on the head with the entertainment. I have really spent a lot of time kind of trying to be more critical of our own movements than even like what's going on in the mainstream, because I see so much crap in our movements.
Bro.
And a lot of it is, like you said, like some people just want to be entertained. Some people, I call it like infotainment or conspiratainment, where like they just click, okay, Slow News Day, okay, Ryan, okay, James Corbett, okay, they're just like clicking to the TV channels basically. And I think sometimes there's a lack of like, hey, this isn't just happening on your computer screen. This is affecting the world you live in. Like, and so I think there's definitely a disconnect.
And I think that's where our chat is. I mean, yes, I'm gonna brag on our chat again. I think that's where I love our chat and our audience so much, because like we have the type of audience where if we organize an event or a protest, then we will see people from our audience show up, because ultimately that's what the goal is to kind of activate the people watching this. So they're not just, like you said, watching it for entertainment. They're going out and they're, first of all, doing their own research, but they're also like going out and trying to interact with the people in their communities and educate them as well, and like become more active so we can establish like these decentralized networks.
I'm a carpenter by trade. And I'm getting ready to move further up into the middle of nowhere than I currently am, because I am way too fucking close to civilization right now, even though I'm in the woods. And part of this process is going to be documenting how to build a cabin, how to build a tiny house, how to finish it, how to wire it, how to, set up alternative sources of electricity. There's 2 natural streams that run through this property. We're going to set up a small like hydro system with a fucking decommissioned washing machine. It's really fucking easy, and you can power an entire house on it through passive solar. It is goddamn amazing.
Oh, did you actually verify that works?
Yes, I did.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna document that whole process, and the hope is we can take this and like workshop that out too, because I'm at the point in my life where if I need to travel to help people, teach people how to build out these actual communities that they've theoretically wanted to set up, dude, I'm down for that. I'll dedicate a couple of months out of a year to a different location, but like, that's all it really takes, and I think, I know that a handful of dedicated people can get a lot of work done in a short amount of time. And I know for a fact, Derrick, that we've got numbers behind us in terms of people who fundamentally realize that something is very, very wrong. And they may not be able to put their finger on the exact name of it, or maybe because of manufactured confusion and propaganda, they don't know the name of it, but they intrinsically feel that something is very wrong. And that's where you come in. That's where we come in. That's where Ryan comes in, Whitney, and all the people that are doing the actual fucking work. We spent, an hour and a half talking to Eva Bartlett yesterday, because she does what so very few people do it. It's the first line in her fucking Twitter bio where it says, "I live in the places I write about." What a concept!
Right.
Yeah, she does great work, and I appreciate the work you guys have done. You mentioned the Assange work. I just want to say I appreciate the work on that, and keeping a light on that situation, obviously really important. And yeah, I just want to reemphasize like the importance of, at this point, wherever people get their news from, alternative, left-wing media, right-wing media, whatever it is, channels that they follow, that if at this point in 2021, I know there's a lot of people who quote unquote like have woken up or started to question things in the last year. So we're all at different points in our journey. Like I get that, and I understand that, but I feel like regardless of where you are at your journey, it is more important than ever for people to find some way to take action, whatever that means in your particular life. Like you were saying, like with the land, like I'm kind of doing the same thing, man. Like I'm working with a group of people, we're building this intentional community called the Conscious Agora that I've had in my mind for 4 or 5 years that I've been writing about. We're close to getting land, and basically I'm going to continue to do journalism, continue to write articles and do documentaries. I've got a new documentary coming out next weekend, but my content is definitely going to start shifting over the summer and towards the fall as we get this land, and I spend more time trying to document, look, this is how you use permaculture to get off their grid. This is how you get off of their electric grid and get off the dependency, because in my view, and this is what I've written about in my books, that like the longer we stay dependent on their systems, whether we're talking economic system, electric system, education, et cetera, then the more difficult it is going to be to live truly free lives going into the next 5, 10, 15 and years and beyond, because their world is going to be very much tightly controlled, social credit scores, on a blockchain, all these different things where if whatever you post and say and think even is going to affect your ability to get around in life. And we're at the point now where you might not be able to travel very soon, and we're kind of already there without proof of vaccine. And like these sort of biosecurity state measures are going to continue. And I don't see that I personally don't spend any time on political activism. I don't think politically, electing new people is going to fix things. I think things are way beyond that point. I don't think violence is the answer either. And so for me, the answer is to exit from their system and build, is what I like to call it, exit and build as much as possible. And that's going to look different for different people. And, I've spent the last 10 years out of the banking system, the tax system, out of I'm kind of out of their grid to some degree and trying to go further. But I know that for some people, they're very much plugged in and it can be overwhelming. So I just want to say to anybody listening that you definitely need to think about into the near to short-term future, how are you going to provide for your family? How are you going to take care of yourself and the ones you love if it is contingent upon a social credit score, getting a vaccine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Those are the sort of social engineering pressures that these people are going to use to try to force compliance into their system. And you're either going to be dependent on that system, well, I can't get paid if I don't get this vaccine. I can't get my check if I don't get this vaccine, or I won't get my 401k if I don't stay working here. And that means I got to do these things and this things. The more dependent you are on that system, the harder it is going to be a truly free human being. And so whatever that looks like for people, I just highly recommend finding ways to start exiting piece by piece, And
it doesn't really have to be, you don't have to rewrite your entire life in an instant. You don't. You don't have to have a complete breakdown of who yourself is either. It's just, there are a lot of small things you can do every single day using encryption. For example, using an encrypted app. If everybody uses encryption in their day-to-day lives just to send text messages and communicate, it disrupts the NSA's ability to do bulk data collection. You could be saving a journalist's life. You could be saving, the life of a whistleblower by using encryption and throwing that, making it just that much more difficult for bulk collection of data to take place. That's right. You download Element right now, or Wire. Something Wire. You don't have to use a phone number to register for. Something you only need a throwaway email address for. Very, very easy, and something that everybody right now can do.
I
use Jitsi instead of Zoom.
You like who?
I like Session. I've been using Session lately.
Okay.
We're trying to set up a panel for the D3 summit. It didn't happen, but we were trying to get a panel of these different messaging apps. I invited somebody from Wicker, Briar, Talks, Element, and Session, because I think those are they each have various benefits to them. Like you said, I prefer something that doesn't require email address, phone number, anything. I know a lot of people pay attention to Signal, but one of my biggest complaints about Signal is that it auto notifies people when you when you join. Yeah. And I just generally don't trust the project.
With Signal, they can track you by your metadata, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care if your messages are encrypted. It don't matter. They can still map out your connections with your fucking phone number. It's stupid.
Yeah, I was disappointed to see Ed Snowden boosting Signal. That was no.
Yeah, I'm skeptical of all the endorsements it's had.
Yeah, there's nobody that's endorsed that product that I've been oh, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So Session is built on the Signal protocol, so it has an engine similar, but then from there they've taken other features. So you have a key instead of an email or a phone number attached to it. So people can only message you if they have your key, for in the first place. So and it's still in the early stages. Sometimes messages don't show up immediately. I also, one reason that I like. Wicker is, there's definitely flaws with that as well. But what I like about Wicker and some of the others is the, being able to burn your messages and set a timer on that. That's something that Session doesn't have yet, but it is a good alternative.
Something to look into. I'm stoked. I do kind of want to get into the blockchain thing, because over the last year or so, like we this show kind of built up like a relationship with Allie, and we were getting ready to have her on, and then January happened, and it was like, okay, well, yeah, no, that's not, yeah, no, because you're on Rockfin. I'm like, we're on 8 other platforms too. There's, you can talk to me in private. Okay, but I know the stuff that you have to say. The audience doesn't. It was for their benefit that we wanted to have the conversation anyway. Maybe someday. I don't harbor any ill will towards anyone who wants to plant their flag on blockchain evil. I don't. I want to make that perfectly clear.
I mean, I don't like blockchain.
Huh?
I don't like blockchain.
Yeah, I mean, it's, but because it's a thing, it's not good or evil. The people who use it can be good or evil, but the thing itself is just a thing, as far as I'm concerned. And I would much rather see someone like Sleepy Josh or Derrick or Allie in charge of, how this technology is used, or then, for example, Eric Schmidt, But I listened to a good chunk of the first day of the summit. I ran out of time to get through the whole 10 hours of the weekend. And there's a lot of good concepts that were thrown around in there. And if you could, Derrick, just kind of like walk us through the positive argument for blockchain, and maybe we'll just play devil's advocate for a minute.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. So I guess I'll provide a little bit of background too for those who might not be aware. I mean, I think anybody paying attention might recognize that there's been some in the last few weeks or month, but really larger picture last couple of years, some contention among the various like freedom movements, and I'll use that generally, a lot of intersecting movements, but between people who see the benefits or the potential benefits of blockchain and crypto. And I do want to establish that too, that blockchain and crypto are not the same thing, that crypto works on blockchain, but they're not, we have to be able to separate that. That's sort of one of the problems in this conversation that I've noticed, is that there's a lot of people who have concerns and fears about blockchain, some that I consider legitimate, that I also share, but I noticed that there's a lack of understanding. Like they're just kind of like, Bitcoin and blockchain, like that's a single entity or a thing, or like, oh, blockchain is just one thing and they're all the same. They don't understand that there's thousands of blockchain projects. And like you said, it's very dependent on the developers. If it's a freaking Bill Gates, Google blockchain, I'm not trusting it. If it's some like, anarchist, crypto anarchist developer who's like, we're building this to make the government and corporations irrelevant, then maybe we should look in that direction and see what they've got going on. There's definitely differences in what's going on there. But so this kind of division has been brewing, and I will say that unfortunately, Allison McDowell, for those who are not aware, she did stoke some of the flames more recently. Like I actually communicated with her as well, like on a friendly basis. We have both have a support of John Trudell and a love for his work, native radical activist. And she actually had agreed to be on my documentary, The Pyramid of Power. And so everything was cool. And then like a couple of weeks ago, I got a message from one of my followers who I guess follows her work as well. I was like, hey, I think you should probably go respond to this. And he sent me a link, and I tried to open it, and it's like, you can't see this. And I said, okay, that's weird. And then I realized me and pretty much everybody associated with the Freedom Cell Network had been blocked by Allison, and she just decided to like block us. And she did so while at the same time kind of publicly misrepresenting my work. And so I don't want to make this about me, but she basically used blockchain to misrepresent my work and say the Freedom Cell Network was a blockchain project. And since she has a very much anti-blockchain blanket view, like, if you're associated with blockchain, like you're saying, like, all right, that's it, that's my line in the sand. So she was trying to insinuate, look, don't join this project, which is bringing thousands of people together around the world. And there's no blockchain or crypto requirement. Like I said, it's a decentralized concept. But again, because of the lack of understanding, people are like, oh, look, they're involved in blockchain. They must be, evil or bad or whatever the thing is. And so she just kind of made a bunch of posts on Facebook and social media. And the point is that kind of opened up the floodgates for this division of people who are anti-blockchain coming to either attack my pages or email me nice things, and people who felt the opposite maybe coming to her page. And unfortunately, I would say that from my perspective on this quote unquote side of things, because I don't want there to be a false division, but that's what some people are painting it as, on the, let's say, open to blockchain side of things, we are not the ones saying, let's not have discussion. We invited Allison to participate at the D3 Summit. We've invited her to participate at the Greater Reset Summit because we think it would be to the benefit of the community if we have this discussion. Like you were saying, Steve, like, let's not have a debate, but let's have a discussion. Let's go through this, Allison. Let's let you represent your important work in this area, and we'll even bring up our own concerns. I've written articles in the last month for The Last American Vagabond about the dangers of smart cities and blockchains. And I did one a week ago about can we unite the pro and anti-blockchain crowd. So we've covered extensively the problems, but I think that some folks are just kind of having a very black and white view, and it's just like, that's all there is. There's, anything associated with blockchain is clearly New World Order, World Economic Forum, Great Reset. So anybody associated with that is not on our side. And it's unfortunate, but that's kind of how things have been. So to get to what you're saying, the reality is that blockchain is a digital ledger, which means it can store information. That's really what, like, the most basic way to think about it, right? And the most kind of common form that people understand it is with cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. So in that case, this digital ledger transmits and records information in the form of currency exchanges. So I send you money and that's recorded on the blockchain. But the blockchain could also record, your wedding license, your death certificate, your birth certificate. You could put any document there. The idea is that there's even a project called Bit Congress that I think could potentially be possible if there was a way to fix the system. This might be it. It basically eliminates the need for Congress. You reduce the politicians greatly, and you use a blockchain to vote on, and that means that nobody can alter it, nobody can change it, no voting machine, whatever concerns. So there's a lot of ways that it could be applicable in good ways. There's also a lot of really scary ways that are being promoted for it to be used. I mean, the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset, they literally want all of our lives to be on the blockchain. They want all of your digital health records, everything you do. They want food to be put on the blockchain from the moment seed is planted to the moment it's delivered at the store. And again, you can think of really positive use cases, like this might be helpful to store this information this and that way. But the difference between, this is where we get into the difference of, so blockchain is just a general tool, again, can be used for good or bad, depending on the creator and the intentions they do. Now, when it comes to cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Monero, et cetera, there's a distinction between like the word crypto is very important. It's not, it signifies cryptography, the math behind it, the algorithms, but also it comes from the cypherpunk crypto anarchist movements of the 80s and the 90s. Like these people were the first people who saw the internet coming and were like, we need to make sure the internet stays free. We need to make sure it stays decentralized. Unfortunately, we mostly use a centralized internet. The World Wide Web is a centralized internet. There's now people working on alternatives and things like that. But so this movement was really born out of like the people who wanted to disrupt this space. They wanted to disrupt the financial system. And unfortunately now when you look at the crypto space, and I've been reporting on it and covering it. I started getting paid in Bitcoin in 2012 as a journalist. It was just, I was living that way, but I had to sell it all to pay rent and all those kinds of things. But I started seeing back then that in the crypto space, you have people who want government regulation because they think it'll make crypto legitimate. They want to work with the World Economic Forum. They want to work with the Rockefeller Foundation, the Gates. Like these people kind of see working in the mainstream as making a crypto like a legitimate, thing. And then you have the other side of the community that's like, hell no, let's make it totally like free, untraceable, private, decentralized. Like let's disrupt the Federal Reserve System, the banking system. And that's kind of
where we fall on that.
And that's where I come from. Like, so that's what I'm saying. So like but I will say, unfortunately, that portion of the crypto space has shrunk greatly because there are so many people that, like me and my partner, our families have contacted us in the last month. Hey guys, can you help us get involved in crypto? Because even our normie parents are hearing about it, right? But all they hear is, oh, you might make money. They don't hear that this is a potentially disruptive tool that could end the banking system and the corporations. No. So most of the people that are flooding into the space are just coming in because they think it's a chance to make money. And that is true. You do, like, I'm going to be using my crypto gains to buy this piece of land. Like, and I think that's a positive gain. Like, I'm going to use that to go off the grid. I don't see how that's a bad thing. But I do think that there are lots of questions. There's people who are associated with some of the bigger crypto companies that do have influence, even though it's a decentralized space, that are associated with the Bilderberg Group, that are associated with the World Economic Forum. A lot of the
Elon Musk.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the big projects, like I mean, this is why I don't use Coinbase.
Snoop Dogg, who has a fucking weed partnership with American for Prosperity and the fucking Koch brothers.
I mean, it's only inevitable that they would use celebrities and influencers to try to promote it as well. So, I mean, I guess the kind of main point here is, and I'd love for you guys to play some devil's advocate, is that not all crypto projects are equal. You know, so again, to speak it as this sort of like monolithic crypto, and that means that Bitcoin to Monero, those are two completely different projects, two completely different blockchains with two different protocols, privacy settings, etc. So to speak like of the crypto space in this kind of singular entity is incorrect. To speak of blockchain as a singular entity is incorrect, because the blockchain that Rockfin runs is on Ethereum. That's different than the one that Monero runs on. That is very privacy based. There are concerns with, you know, a lot of these projects, as I said, and I've written about this. We can talk about that all day, but I just think, unfortunately, some of the folks on the anti side, that they're not looking at it with nuance. They see the problems, but then they kind of have a blanket, like, that means it's all bad. And so they don't want to associate. In this case, Allison and others are just sort of like drawing that line in the sand. Like, hey, if you associate with blockchain or crypto in any way, even if you're not, because I don't think it's the perfect panacea. Like, I hold crypto, I hold a little silver. I also hold seeds because that's my favorite currency. I don't think it's going to be the one tool that's going to disrupt. And I can honestly say that I have less faith that it will be a disruptive tool than I did 8-9 years ago when I first heard about it. I was like, holy shit, this might end the banks. This could be something. I have less faith that that's going to happen now. But I also know that there are people who are trying to take crypto and blockchain back to its anarchist roots.
Yeah, and before we start picking this apart real quick, which I don't even know how, because I'm on fucking Derrick's side on this. But to like bring it back to, like, again, I'm a carpenter. It takes more than one fucking tool to build something, right? And if you were naive or arrogant enough to think that you could complete a project with one tool, you're welcome to try. You're welcome to try. You know, so in that sense, like, I don't feel like, you know, it's just blockchain or just crypto or just, like, there's no one solution to this. You can't complete this project using one piece of equipment. It's going to take multiple things coming together and trial and error, and people, you know, understanding that things don't always there's you're a documentary filmmaker. There's 3 movies you make. There's the movie you write, the movie you shoot, and the movie that comes out, you know, and if you can't see that applies in like every project of your life, you know, it's like that. And so you have to be able to expect that. I'm sorry, Jones, I ran right over you.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say the nuance with crypto is that's kind of the way it is with every movement you see. It's like there's always going to be a portion of it that's going to get co-opted once people see it getting too powerful, like BLM getting co-opted, the environmental movement being co-opted, like, you know, even portions of the Assange movement, seeing tons of like gatekeeping. So it's going to happen in every single thing that happens. And when we were talking with Ryan about the same subject, he put it best, and I'm going to bring it up again because I'm a fucking nerd. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. So you can't really pigeonhole yourself into being one. Steve, stop shaking your head. I can't keep a straight face. You can't pigeonhole yourself into being 100% for or against something. You have to just be able to see those dangers coming. And I don't know if he's paying attention or not, but I kind of want to bring in Sleepy J and see what he thinks of this, because
I'm very curious.
He's a tech ninja.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm fine with blockchain as the technology, like Derrick said. It's not crypto is not fucking blockchain. So, like, as far as the technology goes, yeah, like for voting systems and shit like that, like I support it. And I don't know. I just don't like, my problem with crypto is it already looks like the government's going to regulate the shit out of it anyway. So
that's what I said.
Like, I don't really feel like putting money into that. And the fucking transaction fees, dude, it's like, it's ridiculous. Like,
so that's where
it's only if you're using Bitcoin. If you're on Monero or other privacy coins, it's still pennies.
I need to look into Monero now, but and I hope it's not too late. But yeah, I mean, the
that's my issue with
pitfall
Rockfin,
that I'm
though.
seeing.
it's fucking Ray tokens, dude, and it's all Ethereum. And dude, the transaction fees on Ethereum, like.
Can I say something about that while we're on Rockfin?
Yeah.
Any coin that is built on Ethereum is destined to fail because of the high gas fees, as you're talking about. And I'm not going to get too behind the scenes of what's going on with Rockfin and money and stuff, but anybody who really pays attention about the way that money is released on the Rockfin blockchain notices that it only comes at times when the gas fees are low. And so if somebody is artificially halting payments because they would then have to suffer high fees, there's an issue there that should need to be addressed. So I think that what you're saying, brother, is true. It's like, I mean, when you're talking about Bitcoin, high fees, it's not worth it. When you're talking about Ethereum, high fees, I basically hold Bitcoin because they've converted it now. Like there's so many people in the space who want it to just be a digital gold that you just hold. But again, for me, as an anarchist and as somebody who like hopes and has a little bit of optimism left in the space, the only hope I see is coins like Monero and the Pirate coin and a few others that are truly private and that have made it extremely difficult that the IRS even has a bounty for any hacker that can help them crack the code of Monero. It's open source. You don't have to guess about it. And the point of that is that it's still fast. It still has low fees. And for me, I guess like we also have to help people. I guess my goal is to help people see that crypto, if we only think about it in terms of the value and the investment, I think we're missing the point. Because, think about this, like Bitcoin might be worth $55,000 right now, right? And that means a single Bitcoin costs that. But obviously you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin to get in. You can just throw in $500 and that $500 might grow. Monero is worth $300 right now. So somebody sees $50,000 like, wow, that's a lot of money. And they see Monero, it's like, oh, it's only $300. That's not much. But that's not really the value. The value, at least for a person like me, is that right now I could send you Monero in a private way where nobody could track that transaction. And being in Mexico, I can use certain websites where I can go to the gas station where I know there's no cameras and there's no KYC, pay a little thing at the gas station, and then crypto gets sent to me. There's ways to go about it that make it private. And for me, that's what the value really is. So even if it's worth 1 penny, but if I can still transact it to you in a private way, that's more valuable to me than sending you Bitcoin that's valued at $55,000, but it's publicly available for anybody to see. You know what I mean? So I think part of the problem is that people have come to see crypto specifically as an investment, as a way to make money. And then to the point about government regulation, you're right, man. They definitely are making an effort. I mean, I think anybody who's using most of the mainstream tools like Coinbase, they're using KYC, so they're showing their ID or some phone number, which is just like, don't get involved in crypto that way. That's the wrong way to get into crypto. Like, do it in as private way as possible. But it's unfortunately getting more and more difficult because the state is threatening exchanges. They're threatening markets like, hey, we need you to collect KYC information. Otherwise, we're going to come after you and shut you down. You guys probably know they're coming after Odyssey, which is built, video platform built on blockchain. They are afraid of like the potentials that this offers. But I think that their goal is going to be to try to regulate and control that space as much as possible. And all of the normies who use crypto will comply, like people who comply anyways. But people like myself, I'm still going to use crypto in a way that is going to be probably considered illegal because I'm not going to do it. I'm either going to stop using it totally, or those of us who still want to use it privately, we're going to move into a different space. Now that space probably will shrink. And so the mainstream crypto space will become co-opted, like Jones is saying. It will become very regulated and not crypto. It'll become, again, this is the difference between crypto, which is private, decentralized, and digital currency. That's why the central banks are calling theirs central bank digital currencies, not central bank cryptos, because there is a difference. They're not the same thing.
I don't know. It's just like with the way they're cooperating.
Was that too much?
I need to learn this. It's just a lot.
It just reminds me of like replacing a fiat currency with another fiat currency. The way they're trying to regulate it, and I don't see a value in that.
Say that again, brother. I didn't.
They're trying to replace one fiat currency with another. At least in presentation and rollout.
Well, the true definition of fiat is like by decree, right? So that I think would mainly come from like a government fiat currency. And you could argue, well, Bitcoin isn't backed by, or crypto isn't backed by anything. I would say most in the crypto space, especially the developers and the crypto nerds would say, no, it's backed by proof of work or proof of stake. Basically, it's backed by the math. You can trust the math. And some people want us to go into what they call like a trustless society where I don't have to trust you that you're going to send me the money. I don't have to trust the government or the bank. I can trust the math. I can trust the blockchain that it's built in. And again, if it's built in a way that does respect privacy, then that could be good. But obviously, we don't want to just hand our lives over to the blockchain, the AI, the whatever. Like, so I think, like I said, I don't think it's a perfect panacea. I'm not here to say like you're an idiot if you're not using crypto or blockchain. Like, I get the skepticism. I'm part of the skepticism. But for the moment, I'm going to use the tool that I can. And I don't use Ethereum tools anymore. Like, I see Ethereum partnering with the United Nations to do retinal scanning on the blockchain. Like, that's not something I want to support.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
yeah. I read that a couple of days ago.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, because they already do the retina scanning for that clear shit at airports. What fucking Pasta's head ass do because he was running late for a flight.
Yeah, you won't find me doing that stuff.
Really, Pasta?
Nope.
I actually I've never been happier flying since lockdown because now I can wear sunglasses and a bandana over my whole fucking face to walk through the airport and nobody's tackling me. Like, whereas 2 years ago, I'd have been getting hemmed up, But like, I hate flying so much.
I'd clown you for wearing sunglasses inside, though.
Yeah, I'll accept that. Like, that's a small price to pay. A little shit from Glory Jones for like total anonymity in an airport, except for the fact that I have my ID. But I mean,
except for the fact that they look at your ID before you go in through security.
Come on, man. How many times has a TSA agent gone? Okay. Like,
don't they ask you to lower your mask though?
Yes, and I have a face full of fur. I mean,
it's a fair point. I don't know what life is like with a beard, so.
Let's see, how am I gonna phrase this, man? Because this is like fun. This is really fun shit for me, and this is stuff that like we've been building towards for the last couple of years. And I have a number of friends in the off-grid community. Very good friend of mine for about 30 years now was like in Sepp Holzer's like first permaculture class. And is like a close personal friend, or was a close personal friend to Sepp's for a number of years. So like everything that you've been putting out there is like all stuff that we've done, on smaller scale or like behind the scenes quite a bit. And so that's why I'm enjoying the fuck out of this. Where does the greater resistance go now that you've got some steam? You got 20,000 people on the website, you got conferences that are springing up almost every month now. Like, and I want to kind of like not compare, but like draw a parallel, because when we started the Action for Assange thing in 2019, like the very first thing that we said on the very first vigil was we want to become irrelevant and we want decentralized activism organizations popping up all around the US that are holding events, without necessarily coming to us, like understand what consensus is and, operate that way. If you really need us to help promote, we're down. And it took 93 weeks, but we went from holding our first event at the beginning of Julian Assange's extradition hearing in February of 2020, right before lockdown, to we had a dozen cities on April 11th, which was the 2-year anniversary of him being dragged out of the embassy and shipped to Belmarsh. And like hundreds of people were, worldwide in a movement where really, man, it's been like a dozen of us in the US as on the ground activists for almost a year. So that built up quite a bit of its own, because we were encouraging decentralized activism. I think because we were, trying to give people the tools for how to do it, and then be like, yeah, no, we got shit to do. You handle it, and people are starting to figure it out, and it's fantastic. Do you see a larger and similar trajectory for this? Like, what do you have going on?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. And I appreciate also the kind of attention to the importance of decentralization, because I think that is key. And definitely like what I think that the trajectory we're on right now. So like I said, in January, we mimicked the World Economic Forum by having our event at the exact same time as them, saying like, hey, don't watch them, pay attention to solutions. We just did the D3 summit. This was also us mimicking them, because a few weeks ago they had a digital global governance summit where they basically talked about
the global tech governance.
Yeah, exactly. So they had their sort of like, hey, here's how we want to use blockchain and all that, and
yeah,
and
we sat through that garbage.
This was us saying like, here's the alternative again, like here's some other ways, opportunities. So they were supposed to meet again in May, the World Economic Forum, and that's why we were having our event at the end of May. They rescheduled theirs till August, but we're also at the point now where with this event, we're pretty much like, okay, it's a cool concept. We want to kind of mirror and mimic them, but we don't want to be glued to them. We want to kind of break off, right? And like, for example, with the event this weekend, the World Economic Forum talks a lot about the fourth industrial revolution that we're going through, the Internet of Bodies, Internet of Humans, all this kind of things. And so we called ours the first decentralized evolution, like that we believe that we are in the middle of creating, like that all of us are kind of creating this. And so we're definitely like trying to counter some of their moves and things like that. And I think that's important because globally, internationally, there's nobody else trying to really challenge them other than, some protests on the ground. And that's not to say that we're doing it. It's that now it's become this international thing that all we had to do was just kind of put it out there and people responded. People were clearly looking for solutions. And so in the sense of decentralization, one of the things we did the first time and that we're going to do again at the end of May is, in addition to having our official event in Austin and in Mexico, we basically said, look, you don't have to come to our events if you can't. Host a watch party in your community. And before, last time we made it super decentralized. So we just told people, hey, organize a watch party. And then during the event, it was really beautiful. People started sending in pictures from Germany, from Australia, from all over the world. And we're getting to show, sometimes it's just somebody sitting with their cat watching the computer. Sometimes it's a group of people, but we were just, and I think that really does feed into the camaraderie that people realize like, holy shit, we're not alone. Like this is like all around the world. There's people paying attention right now. And so we want to elevate that even more. So we've done things like we're making the time that we're going to do the event a little earlier so that the folks in Europe, it's not the middle of the night for them and they can stay awake and see the whole thing. So hopefully we have more participation. But also now on our website at thegreaterreset.org, we've actually created this watch parties form where people can go and like upload like, hey, I plan to host a watch party in this city. And if they want to make it public, other people can come show up and join. But also we're now like being able to map this out to see like, look, this is a visual representation of how many of us there are around the world. They're going to be tuned into these solutions. And I think both in a psychological and on a spiritual level, like there's power in that. There's power in us gathering in vigils, as you guys know, at the same time. There's also power in like people all around the world, hundreds of thousands of people tuning in, hearing about solutions as opposed to just talking about the problems. And so not only are we doing the watch parties, but the other thing we're doing is this sort of video contest that we're calling the People's Reset. And basically the goal that we're trying to see is like, we don't want this to just be in the age of Zoom everything, just another online conference people tune into for a couple of days and go back to their work. We very much, the reason we called it the Greater Reset Activation and not the conference or festival or something is because I think it was you, Jones, also used the word earlier that we really are trying to activate people, not to just like, don't just consume this passively like conspiratainment, infotainment, but listen to these talks in the areas of permaculture and health and digital technology and building community and see how can you incorporate these ideas into your life. And so it was really beautiful. After the first event, there were people posting in our Telegram channel like, hey, we just had our first Freedom Cell meeting in my area. We're gathered, I got 10 people now, or hey, we just built our first garden, or I pulled my money out of the bank, like real tangible actions. And I think that's the only thing that's going to propel us forward. So my personal goal and the goal of this event is in the next 30 days, we're just going to be encouraging people, send in short little videos showing us what did you do since the first Greater Reset activation and how much progress have you made? And then we're going to highlight those during the event. So people all around the world can see, look, here's examples of people taking real steps in their lives, because I know the event is great. I'm glad we're reaching people. But if those 150,000 plus people who watch it just go back to work the next day and don't do anything different, then what the hell is the point? I mean, we had a bunch of fun and we shared some ideas, but ultimately, like, we need to be at the point where we can physically and tangibly see like the movements moving forward. Like the movements need to move at this point. And if we can see like, hey, our event helped 5,000 people pull their money out of the banks into a local credit union or invest in some local currency or whatever, or 10,000 people built gardens after this event. Like that's real movement. That's real food security. Like, so that's kind of where we're focused on, like taking it we are probably going to do these events every 3 to 4 months, just as long as there's momentum. Just keep riding that wave and trying to counter these crazy people. But it's going to be focused on like solutions. What can you show us that you've done? And hopefully, like at this next event at the end of May, we'll just inspire more people to take real steps.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
with I know you gotta. I know you kind of got to get out of here, Derrick. I will say that like the little community that I live in the Santa Cruz Mountains was for a number of years more or less autonomous. Boulder Creek Free State. We got invaded by Silicon Valley about 15 years ago. And yeah, fucking flatlanders, dude. Hey.
Oh, hey, I'm a
swampland over here. Like,
Florida is not the Silicon Valley
flatlanders.
Glory Jones.
You're all fucking flatlanders. I don't know.
I know. I'm from Florida.
But in the last couple of years, especially after the Paradise Fire in 2016, which is relatively close to here, a lot of overlapping community and families, relations and shit like that. The need for a legitimate community has arisen again, and we're about to start planning our 7th community garden in this little area this week. And over the last couple of years, we've been able to feed 145 families with what we've been able to produce, and that's just really fucking cool. It is. Derrick, please let people know how they can keep up with you, where they can find you, how they can help support you, and thank you again, man. Like, there's that fucking 18 fucking hours of shit that I would like to talk to you about, which I'd love for you to talk to the audience about the Gray Man thing at some point, and hopefully we can sit down again sometime relatively soon.
Yeah, let's do it again. Let's not wait till your 600th episode before we do it again.
Right.
I've got more questions.
Yeah, I definitely would be down to come back. I just one of the reasons I have short on time today is because I'm going to plug this last thing. Is I have a documentary, like I mentioned, coming out next Friday, and it's actually a 16-part documentary series. I don't know can I share my screen?
Yeah. So on that bottom bar, third from the left, it's the monitor with the arrow.
Got it. Okay, so this is on my website. If you just go to theconsciousresistance.com, you'll see the front page has the Pyramid of Power, and you can click and watch the trailer for those who want to check it out. But it's basically going to be a 16-part documentary series. It's the biggest work I've ever done. And next Friday, May 7th, the first is like the beginning of the first season. We're basically going to release them in 4 episodes, kind of, for per season. So May 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th, every Friday, I'll be releasing a new episode. It'll be first released on Mark Passio's One Great Work Network, for those who know his work. And then following that, it'll be available everywhere. But it's basically going to take like a very big picture look at a lot of the different, for lack of a better term, conspiracies about various institutions and people. And, if anybody knows my work, I research a lot of things that are outside of the mainstream, but I only stick to the facts, the things I can document. I like to do real on the ground journalism, interviewing people. And I've done that with my Jeffrey Epstein documentaries and some of my other works in the past. But I decided to take like a really big look and like take a more of a true crime approach. Like, let's talk about the education system, the media, big tech, the Hollywood and intelligence influence. And so, again, anybody can go to the front page of the website and watch the trailer, but it'll be premiering May 7th, and just every week after that for 4 weeks is going to be the first season. If anybody wants to check that out, I'm really excited to share that with the world. It's like one thing I'll say about that is I'm trying to condense lots of research down to 17 to 20 minutes to make it palatable for the bingeable kind of generation and make it very easy to watch. But again, everything is going to have all the links, all the resources, and every episode also ends with, if you want to go deeper, here's some documentaries to watch, here's some books to watch. And then what I think is different from, I think this is where we're different from most of the other documentaries I've seen of this style, is that each episode is also going to focus on solutions like we're doing today. Like, okay, so we're talking about the education system. Now, what can you do about it? Okay, we're going to talk about big tech. Okay, now what can you do about it? So each episode is going to kind of follow that format. Introduce the subject, go deep into it, interview some experts. It features, at this point, we got G. Edward Griffin, James Corbett, Mark Passio, Roy, excuse me, I forget his name, Ray, the CIA, former CIA agent.
Oh, McGovern.
Ray McGovern and
Uncle Ray.
Yeah, and then Professor Peter Dale Scott as well, and some others.
So when he told you about the Mickey Mat, did he like over exaggerate media or academia? Because it's usually one or the other with Ray.
Man, that was an interesting conversation. I'll say that we had a lot, and I had like basically I'm sitting down with each of these guests, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna pick your brain for 2 hours, and then we're gonna edit out the pieces and put them in the appropriate episodes, as they fit. So we had like a super in depth that, and he went pretty deep with that. I'm excited to share that. So I just wanted to plug that, and then as far as my main work, that's pretty much theconsciousresistance.com. You can see all of my channels. I'm on Rockfin, I'm on Odyssey, Float. My podcasts go up on podcasting platforms and all that good stuff. And I will mention as well, my books are on my website. They're downloadable for free, including How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State, which is dealing with much of what we're talking about today. So yeah, I appreciate the time, guys. Thank you for giving me a chance to share some of my views, and I'd love to come back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I'd love to have you.
It's interesting.
All right, guys.
Very
I'll talk to
Thank
y'all
you.
soon.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
Derrick Broze, everybody. That went by really
Steve
fucking quick.
Poikinen, I'm gonna need you to stop disrespecting the Flatlanders.
You are a Flatlander. Don't forget it.
I grew up in the crossroads of America,
India.
realizing.
Wait, you are
that
a fucking
if
Flatlander.
If you're realizing that if you're going to name a place the crossroads of America, the intention was to never stop there, because you don't stop at a crossroads because you're gonna get ran the fuck over. So, westward, and
So your hatred of Flatlanders comes from deep down, just
self-hating Flatlander. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are.
there you go.
Been in the mountains for 25 years, more or less.
You're a
Longer
mountain man now.
than I have been a Flatlander.
When you're born a Flatlander, you're always a
Always
Flatlander,
gonna be a
Steve.
Flatlander. Always.
I mean, if that's what you need to tell yourself, sure. Sure.
Listen, Steve, I see you and I hear you. Okay,
Mhm.
there's no
Yeah,
need
I
to
hear you.
self-hate. No
I
need
hear
to
you.
self-hate. There's wonderful
hear
things
you.
that can come with flatlands. Okay, you can
Yeah,
get
man.
swamps.
Corn.
Get
fields.
swamps.
Yeah, you also get San Jose and Campbell and fucking Milpitas, Mountain View.
You
They
also
call it
get,
Mountain
you
View
also
because
get
it's flat. You can
coastline.
see the mountain, but there's fucking none of them there.
Hey,
No,
you
no,
That's
also
no,
get
Mountain View, not Mountain Town.
hey,
Hold
hey
on.
now. You also get coastlines. You get
Yeah,
the
you can
ocean.
I don't
have
really
those.
count that
We've
as
been over
flatlands,
this. You
'cause
can
it's-
have those.
I don't know.
You
It's
can.
Like, it's like cliff.
I'm
to
not
me.
trying to fuck them up or get in the
I
way
know,
of them.
I
I'm
know,
not.
but you
I'm
don't
not.
see me. You don't see me disrespecting the
Totally
mountain
leaving them
people.
alone.
Right?
It's because
Yeah.
you're scared of the mountain people. I'm scared of the mountain
Right.
people.
Yeah, seriously. The hill people. I'm scared of the hill
They got
people.
fucking
We're all
guns and
pretty
shit.
crazy, and we got really good aim.
You know what? That's
laugh.
what they say about Floridians too, with emphasis on the crazy part.
Florida,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. It was funny because like I think I said this in the Elements one before, but it's like a really funny and tragic thing how like the only hills in Florida come from like old garbage dumps that have been like turned into parks and those radioactive gypsum stacks. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Lord.
that's the
Where
only
we
hills.
get our hills. Yeah,
That's
Jesus.
the only hills that you see in Florida.
Yikes.
Trying to look here, looking at the chat here. There's like a whole big ass conversation going on. Hey, Mr. Magulag. I think we're all skeptical of crypto. I promise you, I just heard Derrick say that he was too.
I certainly am.
Yeah. right.
Yeah, that's why I wanted
No,
Josh to speak up.
I really appreciate that he separated the distinction between blockchain and crypto, though.
Yeah.
Because
God knows I
blockchain
didn't do that.
has its fucking uses. That's what I keep saying. It's just you don't have to use it in cryptocurrency. Like there's
Yeah,
other
no,
uses
it
for
doesn't have to be like. And again, I mean, we had this whole fucking big thing last night in Yelbro server about currency and shit like that. That fucking
We
I
did.
I had to sign off and go to bed.
Oh, never mind.
I rarely leave.
bro. The last thing I said was, "This is the most naive thing I've heard you say tonight," and I've got to go before I fucking left. But like,
Oh,
my skepticism of currency in general, and the fact that we have like, it's ultimately the reason for the majority of our suffering in one way, shape, or form. I mean, that's the fundamental problem that I have with the concept of currency in general. Is that
Big
that
same.
as, huh?
It's a big same.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
because it's not a tool. Like the blockchain, that as Derrick described it, tool.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency, not a tool.
Blockchain tool.
You can't build with it. You can't create with it.
Well,
You
not
can't,
to mention, and
you know,
Sleepy.
go ahead.
Oh, no. You finished your point. I thought you were done.
No. I was actually trying to like get back to the original thing, but
Because I was gonna.
the skepticism that I have with cryptocurrency is that it's a means of currency to begin with, because you're going to be if you're basing your currency on a finite resource that encourages hoarding, it encourages fucking people over so that you can get more. It encourages exploitation. Just by dint of its existence.
Yeah.
That's the problem that I have.
Derrick brought up the point that it was backed by math, but like, and the algorithms around it. But I mean, I have the same criticism that like Sleepy J has, where it's like you're replacing fiat currency with another fiat currency, and I'm not a fan of fiat currency.
I always think the Fed's gonna take everything, like in some capacity, but I mean, it's cool to learn about. God knows I need to learn more.
Well, and especially when you do get like countries or bodies that introduce a currency that's backed by something, like Libya tried to do with gold, then they immediately become a target, and that's reasons why Gaddafi was ultimately axed by U.S., NATO, and just the IMF and Western imperialism in general. So
it's a trend. It's usually, you can be like, if somebody's not going along with that, then they'll usually get Gaddafi'd. Which, I mean, a lot of people still don't really know about that, but that's a side note.
So what I don't know, man. Like, I haven't watched 8,000 hours of Derrick's content. I haven't watched 8,000 hours of anybody's content. Yeah. So I'm never going to be able to like try to claim that I know how somebody else feels about something, or claim that like what they've, that I can vouch for like what somebody's viewpoint is, because I'm not that person. Right. And I haven't studied all of their shit. So I'm not trying to put any words into Derrick's mouth here. I'm not trying to put any words into Allison McDowell's mouth or anything like that. That's, and I would still love to have a conversation with Allie or with somebody that is like violently anti-blockchain, because I do think that there's some things that crowd is missing about it too. And
should we get Raul Diego on?
He's been invited on.
Yeah.
But he's been invited on multiple times.
I got
he
no
has
comment.
declined.
He's a what?
Douche. I'll say it.
Yeah.
He's
a douche cunt.
I mean, we did air his shit out and fucking showed that he was a thief, so I can understand why he wouldn't want to fucking come on the show.
Probably not. I don't think.
But I mean, don't steal money from our friend, and we won't fucking blast you on air.
Well, and don't leave fucking a paper trail that you gave to the person that you robbed. Maybe don't do that too if you're, going to try to rob somebody. But I mean, fucking, but I mean, again, like if there's somebody, like if anybody's listening right now and you are in touch with, you know, people who are kind of spearheading this anti-crypto, anti-blockchain thing, we want to talk to them. We do. I like, that's an argument that I want to be able to understand and articulate if I need to, you know. But I personally, I kind of think that this is a short-term way to grab some of the equipment that the people who hate us either missed the boat on initially or rolled out themselves, you know, for nefarious purposes. You can take advantage of that in the short term, especially right now.
Yeah.
And what Derrick is doing with crypto to turn that into a fucking piece of property, that's a fantastic use of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's out of a bank, it's out of the blockchain, it's out of everything and into physical land, which you can then defend.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fucking tastic. If you can if you can get crypto rich in the next fucking 6 months, turn that into property and some equipment, and then get out.
Yeah.
You won. You won.
True. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
I think that's my biggest problem with crypto is like you said, it fucking encourages hoarding. Like, I don't see how that's any better than the fucking monetary system we have. That's our problem. You got like 1% of these motherfuckers hoarding it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's Bitcoin. And that's a religion. Bitcoin maximalism is a religion. Straight up. Dude, fucking that union that you wanted with all the Bitcoin guys and fucking Max Kaiser and shit. And I really felt like I was at a fucking tent revival.
Buy Bitcoin.
I really did.
Dude,
I felt like I was at a tent revival. And it was starting to get to me. It was. I was like getting a spirit. I was catching it.
Dude, I fully.
Oh, really? Okay.
I fully expected fucking the old dude from Microsoft, not Gates, but the other developer fuck, to do his developers speech coming out of that fucking interview.
Oh, you mean yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? I forgot his fucking name. But yeah, like, I don't know, like I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I don't see normal people being able to fucking eat off that shit, and that's my problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's a very elitist fucking. Most people who are involved in crypto either got involved early, or they have money to begin with.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, and I think that was it Morano? Broze was talking about.
Oh, Monero.
That seems to be a little bit different. Seems to be a little bit more like peer-to-peer capable.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they have a public blockchain either, like Bitcoin does. I have to look into it more.
I think it's 100% private.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like you said. I mean, it's up to the developer whether it's evil or not. But I don't trust Bitcoin, man. I just don't. I don't trust
I don't trust anything with a central node.
Me neither.
Same.
I don't.
It's a good starting point, I think.
And I mean, like, I'm perfectly willing to admit my ignorance on cryptocurrency, like from day one, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Me
I'm not trying to be an expert.
I think all of us are.
I'm definitely not trying to tell you guys how or what you should do with your crypto. That's not. No. I'm trying to fucking recognize the potential uses for this thing, take advantage of that, and then drop it like it could come to get me as soon as I feel like, you know, I've hit my limit with where I can go with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of the reasons why, like, neither of us of us three specifically are, you know, 100% for or against it, because we don't know enough about that. Like, you've been open about that, Steve. Like, I've been open about it to the point where, like, there were times where I've, like, fallen asleep on calls when, like, the conversation has turned to crypto because I just zone out. And then, you know, you saw Ali's first brain breaking moment, which was so heartwarming.
So like, yeah, I'm over here still. Like I thought that this was gonna be a real side note. Like I know that Dogecoin thing was probably all the psyop, but I'm not gonna lie, I bought into it a little bit. It's doing quite well. I know it's gonna crash soon and it means nothing, but I wanted to ask him about that. But we'll save that for another time.
I just think it's funny because it's
asking about Dogecoin right now.
I just think it's funny because it's fucking Doge.
I know,
like Doge, like the fucking.
It was just funny. Everyone's like, that's a scam. I'm like, yeah, but hey, but shit,
like scam coin.
Yeah, I mean,
just add anything and put coin in front of it and make a meme out of that.
It was
like truffle coin.
Yeah,
buy truffle coin. Buy truffle coin.
Buy the dip.
Yeah, I think RSFO's in the chat, so I
he
needs to get on that.
Huh?
I said RSFO's in the chat. He should get on the truffle coin.
Buy truffle coin.
It will never fail you.
We'll get McAfee to promote truffle coin from prison.
Yeah, it'll be a lifeboat.
That's funny. Truffle coin.
Doge has infinite supply and shitty inflation tech. It's a literal shit coin.
Buy shit coin.
Buy shit coin.
Now I know what Bitcoin I'm making, or what Bitcoin clone I'm making. It's gonna be shitcoin.
Shitcoin.
Gonna be completely.
Should we make a Slow News Day NFT?
No. You know how much fucking power those goddamn NFTs.
I know. I'm just fucking.
I'm like, yeah.
Scoop coin.
Come on, man.
Scoop coin.
Scoop
coin.
It kills the activists.
I love it. Did I just get a kindly see my last email? Sorry about that. Get a little distracted. I love email talk. Kindly see my last email, or per the last email.
Have you seen that video? Have you seen that little video? It's like a dude, like it's how to navigate workplace email.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, it's like per my, and then the dude's fucking like, okay, wait.
Yeah.
That shit's fucking funny.
Hey, best kind regards. Yeah. Anyway.
It's funny. We got a couple Rockfin tips.
We have some what, Steve?
We have some Rockfin tips, Jones.
We have some what?
We have some secrets.
And it's always appreciated on Slow News Day.
I hope Fee is somewhere laughing right now.
I know.
Karen Sperry, thank you very much. Like the living info, but would love some fleeing info. The lecture series on how to safely smuggle yourself out of the country does not take place on YouTube.
True.
Yeah. Gotta catch a breakout session for that. I'm not gonna tell people how to smuggle themselves out of the country on a live stream. I'm trying to not get my door kicked in today.
Come on.
But there are definitely ways. There are. Bubblegum douche, thank you very much.
Do it Commander X style.
Right? Yeah. Vandana Shiva has raised a very good point about how much energy is required to mine cryptos. The calculations become increasingly complex, Bitcoin in particular. I would really like to talk to Ms. Shiva. I would. If anybody knows how to get a hold of her directly, please let me know. Familiar with her work and her position, and would definitely like to talk to her. Monique, what's up? Crap, I'm late. I'll catch your replay tonight at work. Once again, thank you for all you do. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, the energy consumption behind cryptocurrency has always been something that I've been concerned about. I don't understand enough of it, and I would like to. And I mean, it's the same thing with Josh's eternal complaint whenever I do joke about a Slow News Day NFT, because I do from time to time. And it's just like an automatic. Yeah, how much fucking energy it takes?
Sorry.
Yes,
sorry.
yes, I do. I'm totally fucking
I don't
with
like
you.
it. I don't like it.
Got it. Noted. A little bit more than 100 on YouTube, about half that on Rockfin. If we could change that dynamic, that would be great. Guys, if you haven't made your free Rockfin account, please do that. We are also going to be live streaming on Odyssey going forward. I fucked that up for this one. But we'll make sure that the next time we go live, we will be live on Odyssey. No Union of the Unwanted tonight. It's an off week. Don't really, let's see. We don't have anything scheduled until Thursday, which will be episode 300.
300.
We're gonna do a moderator panel. If you're part of that Slow News Day Wrench Gang over on the YouTubes and you would like to get in on Thursday evenings Thursday nights mod panel, we're going to be going live at 8 on the East Coast, 5 on the West Coast.
Hit up Ant someone.
Huh?
I said hit up Anthony someone.
Yeah, I was trying to get an answer out of him last night. I didn't. But yeah, if you are a moderator, you want to be a part of it, holler at us in the Discord. There's already a mod panel room set up. We'll go ahead and throw you into that. And yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. We are going to open that. We're going to open that show with a discussion on the Carnation Revolution. And then there's a whole bunch of different directions that we kind of want to blast off into. So that's going to be a hell of a show. You're definitely going to want to be there for it. We're going to have to condense a lot of crap into 2 hours because I'm pretty sure we got AVB right after that. Let's see. Do we have anyone booked for this weekend?
I didn't see anything in the calendar last time.
No, we don't. So I'm going to try and get Sky Daddy on Sunday.
Oh, cool.
Dude, that chick is hilarious.
She's my new favorite Twitter account.
Dude.
For sure. For sure.
I'm glad you found that.
I like having an imagination and shit too.
Bro.
Dude, I damn near pissed myself, man.
Bro, yeah. What's fantastic is like it the way that she writes the jokes make it perfect for somebody else to just come in and build off of it.
Nice.
Like it's a wonderful fucking foundation joke, and then you could just kind of take it and run with it. Yeah, good stuff. Allie, what you got?
I'm doing more research about all the shit we were talking about yesterday with Harvard and their creepy.
So that's what we're going to do on Thursday. If we don't do a shorter show on that at either tonight, tomorrow night, or Wednesday night, because this shit is nuts, dude. Do you want to briefly introduce that, Allie? Just
sure. What's that?
Can you briefly introduce that?
Yes.
Like what the studies are?
Well, let me pull it up real quick. I mean, but yeah, the general gist of it is pre-bunking. We're pre-bunking information. So Harvard came out with they've had 2 games actually. This one is called, what is it called again?
Bad News.
Bad News. And then there's another game. It's essentially training people how to pre-bunk misinformation so that you don't, it inoculates you, I believe is the word. Inoculates people from
the Harvard Kennedy School.
Yeah. Thank you.
The Harvard Kennedy School had this game made.
Thank you.
Oh,
yes, it's horrifying.
Destroy, frighten, mock.
And
shout,
this game,
please propagandize
how
me.
to put out fake news so that you can recognize it when you see it.
Yeah. Check this out. Yeah, bro.
But it's creepy as hell.
Look,
because
getting followers, my credibility is going down.
They're just telling you so many things without saying it.
And it gets worse too.
Oh, it's horrifying. It really is horrifying.
If I had time, I would make a parody version of this game.
That's funny. That would be a good idea.
But
Yeah,
so this game, this bad news game that uses actual information and presents it as conspiracy, except for they'll change one word to make it inaccurate.
They're dead ass.
It's teaching.
Like I won't.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just go.
Sorry, I won't give away everything in the game, but like at one point it's like diminishing CIA false flags and like criticisms of UN Agenda 21 and like the COVID narrative. Like
I was like, oh, we're going there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. instantly, and presenting the game. They tell you that fake news is a virus. And the ability to spot fake news. This game is your vaccine. And it will inoculate you from the virus of fake news because they're introducing you to small amounts of fake news in order for you to build up your immune system to...
I'm so glad Harvard has our back.
Right.
Yeah, there's another game called Harmony Square. You heard of that one?
No.
Yeah, that's the name of it too.
Harmony Square or
Harmony Square. Breaking Harmony Square.
Pull it up.
Harmony Square is a game about disinformation. All right, hold up. Let me get it up here.
We're gonna learn Oh, cool. Yeah. Peace and unity.
Okay. Enter the game site. Oh boy, what is this?
Is this?
Harmony Square.
What am I hired as? Okay, pick a code name. That's a dead name.
Carmen, San Francisco.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, do the whitest dude I've ever seen.
I'm gonna do the whitest one possible.
Baking soda.
I don't know. Fucking. Okay, just. Opposition must be whisked away. Union against scary movies withdraws from annual Disney movie giveaway. Okay, very funny. I don't know. Harmony Square is obsessed with democracy. Its 3 political parties are bickering constantly, and the news ticker can't stop reporting on it. The perfect place for an influence campaign.
What the fuck is this?
Let's look at some of these gaslighting headlines. Swan has escaped again? No, I need a better one. Living statues denied permit.
Oh, let me tell you something real quick. The game was produced with and based on the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's cybersecurity and infrastructure agency's approach to understanding foreign interference in elections.
Dude, I bet these motherfuckers are like spying on you while you're in there.
Probably.
Oh, bro, this game is even more dead than the last one.
It came out. Well, this article came out November 6th, 2020. Yeah, so I'm going to be diving into all this because I want to see like all their sources and what they're talking about as they
I'm
go through this.
So guess I'm gonna be playing that game too. Goody.
Yeah, because the measures we sought to answer 3 questions about the effectiveness of Harmony Square as anti-misinformation tool. Does playing Harmony Square make people better at spotting manipulation techniques? Does it increase people's confidence in their ability to manipulation techniques? And does playing the game reduce people's self-reported willingness to share manipulative social content with people in their network? These people are insane.
Yeah.
You know. So. It's good.
So at the same time, we're taking a look at these games. There's a correlating study that came along with the bad news game that we're going to take a look at, and we're going to put that next to a Stanford study about the effects of mental health in adolescents pre and post lockdown, because we've got a whole fucking generation of kids that has been massively psychologically traumatized over these lockdowns. And as they're intentionally breaking the mental health of children, they're also coming out with all of these games that fucking instruct on how to be better propagandized.
So gross.
And the psychological manipulation that's going on right now is making me fucking violently angry. And we need to do more than talk about it.
Yeah, do some. Yeah.
So I'm going to put some thought to what we can do about that, and reach out to a few people and see if we can't kind of get something rolling on that.
Yeah, there's not many people talking or doing much about it, I feel like. And there's so many parents, I think, that probably feel this. And again, it goes back to that social pressuring thing. Like, they don't want to say anything really because they don't want to look like anti-lockdown.
My kid went back to regular school like in the last, I don't know, month or so, and like her mental health has certainly gotten considerably better, and she's actually doing her fucking schoolwork now, so that's nice.
Oh, good.
Aww.
But yeah, like, I mean, the last year she struggled, man. Like, she was failing all her fucking classes. Like,
oh yeah, going to online.
She couldn't do her theater stuff, you know, any of that crap. It fucked with her. It definitely fucked with her. Like, she was always depressed. Like people.
So messed up.
People, I don't know, people act like kids can just like be taken out of social situations and be okay, and that's just not the fucking case.
Absolutely not.
It's like, yeah, maybe you can deal with it as an adult, but they're kids, man. That's where they're supposed to learn all that social shit, is when they're kids.
And like, especially when they're already so accustomed to, like, you know, seeing all their friends 5 out of 7 days of the week, and being able to play outside and fucking like interact with their natural environment, like get in the dirt, fucking, I don't know, get into a fight even. I don't care. Like, getting outside in general.
Yeah. I can't stop thinking about kids, like, truly that their home life isn't good and school is like their one escape. Those are the kids I'm just like,
a lot of the kids don't eat if they don't go to school, man. They don't fucking eat. They don't, like, you know, I mean, I've heard of teachers, you know, being on calls and shit, and like having to see the parent beat the shit out of the kid, like, you know, like, I mean, for a lot of troubled kids, man, like, that is their escape. That's where they can go, you know, not feel scared and shit. And I feel like they've all slipped through the cracks during all this lockdown shit.
Yeah, no, and it extends into college as well, because like, even though, like, you know, college students were in this kind of like weird limbo between being like independent or dependent, but like, despite that, like, we didn't get any stimulus money, like our schools did. So whether we got any money depended on what the fucking administration of our school decided to do. Like, and not all schools in the country were given money. So like, college students, for a lot of like there are a lot of athletes where like they can only go to school if they get a full ride scholarship. So now, once you're in a situation where you can't stay on campus, you don't have a meal plan, now all of a sudden, like, you don't have any stimulus, you don't have any meal plan, you don't have any housing, so you have to go back home, like what Josh and Allie were saying, where the situation could like potentially be worse.
You just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We took care of the least least fortunate among us, the worst during this, and it's fucking disgusting.
It's by design, I think. I mean, all the available evidence points towards it being by design. We've got a bunch of fucking depopulation, fucking hard-on eugenicists, like,
running the show,
in charge of the fucking lockdowns and the vaccine and the fucking mask shit and the rollout of all of it. Like, the significant depopulation agenda that's been in place for the last 25 years, at least 21 years. And I mean, again, dude, I'll take it back to fucking Cuomo. He's still in office. The only thing they're yelling at him about is grabbing titty.
Mm-hmm.
He murdered thousands of old people, sent thousands of elderly people to their fucking premature deaths, and has received like the mildest pushback on that because titty. You know, and I'm not trying to excuse sexual assault here. I'm just saying he murdered thousands of people. You can probably get him on that.
Right.
Grabbing a titty in 93 might not be able to get him on that.
Well, because he's Andrew Cuomo. Of course, they're going to try to get him off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Does Jason call him Andrew Capo Cuomo?
Yeah, the capo. Fucking not the boss. The enforcer. The guy who makes sure the fucking bodies drop.
Yeah.
And the fucking money gets delivered. Lieutenant.
See, like a Stringer Bell from The Wire. I don't know. I'm trying to think who would be in The Wire. I'm going off. I started watching The Wire again yesterday. So I went off on a tangent. Because Andrew Cuomo's gross as fuck. And nobody wanted to talk about it. This when like it was happening. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Only now is it somewhat coming out. And then again, there's just going back to.
We talked about it.
Grabbing tits.
We talked about it in fucking like June of last year. You know, and fucking, I remember like getting shit on for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people like, oh, you can't say that. He's America's governor, please.
I seem to remember Burmis going after him real fucking hard early on too.
Yeah, yeah, in like
well, because he used to be in New York.
I mean, I noticed more on the right, people were calling it out because
partisan bullshit.
Right.
Like,
so I was like, fuck it, at least people are
well, that's the thing.
I remember Burmis
at the very beginning, Burmis was like, get your fucking old people out of these goddamn old folks' homes. And boy, was he fucking right.
Right. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
No, I mean, we had him on a bunch during like the first 3 or 4 months of that. Like from like when those first few articles started showing up in Zero Hedge about, hey, here's what is up with this Wuhan lab. Here's where the money came from. Here's the people who ran it. Oh, there happens to be a missing scientist or like one who just wound up fucking dead right before this thing broke. So that's sort of like, I mean, it fucking raised a few flags for me.
Yeah.
I talked to Burmis about it, and he's like, oh, dude, yeah, no, something's wrong, and from about January on, we were reporting on this, albeit Jason and Ryan light years more than this show, because they were doing, like, they had, there was a focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing, daily news shows. Whereas we do more long form interview and fucking conversation shit. We end up breaking a lot of news just because of the wheelhouse that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely want to like be able to do both. I want to be able to have like, slow news days that are just us going through what's going on and then keep the long form interviews. But maybe a little bit less of those and more of the new. I don't know.
I know what you mean.
Working it out on screen though, we should probably knock it off.
I don't know. I kind of like the long form interviews because it's a way to like make sure that we don't get too focused on one thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah.
I do. I don't want to not. I really do think that the way that people are interviewed here is different and better than like anywhere else. I really do. I've tried to find shows that get as much out of the guest.
Dude, we get respectable guests to curse.
Yeah. That's a skill right there.
Well, in those respects,
unless with the only exception being Dr. Piers Robinson,
who waited until
Piers
after
Robinson.
the stream to curse, but did curse.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
but like on stream. My God, that was we were so respectable, Steve.
One of my favorite moments of all of the show was when Beely flipped off the camera. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I sent that picture to Eva yesterday because she was like, "I'm really sorry about the dogs," and I'm like, "Eva, let me explain something to you." And then I sent her that picture, and she's like, "Oh, I wish I would have known."
Next time.
Next
I'll give you one of those next time.
Hey, I will never give a guest a shit, like any shit about dogs. I have 3 Chihuahuas that frequently piss me off during the stream.
I love it when we get like Reverend Annie on and when we're talking to her and she'll go off on like fucking a 5-minute tangent about like Jesse Jackson, like he's a pimp, he's full of bullshit, fuck him, and the next thing you know, 5 minutes later she'll be like, and I can't say what I wanted to say because I'm a minister.
Not gonna talk about that 'cause I'm a minister. This motherfucker, what ain't you saved? This man. Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's good shit.
I got to be Reverend Annie.
Jones, what do you got?
In a couple hours here, I'll be making a video with our MCSC fam, Hear Me Out podcast, Pedro and Brooks. We'll be doing a video about the Super League that fell through because the owners of our respective clubs suck ass. But it's okay because Ed Woodward's sorry ass is fucking out. Bitch, Glazers are next. Also, Friday, dude, I'm doing like that self-promo thing.
Oh,
Yay. Yeah. Friday, Franco will be having a panel with me, Prop, and Anthony. That's going to be fun. And yeah, it was fun to chat with Derrick today for the first time. Just way overdue. But yeah, he was awesome. Big ups to him for always kind of looking forward and being like very solution oriented. And the Demon Slayer movie is out, guys.
What's that?
Demon Slayer. It's
Zoomer shit.
Only an amazing anime produced by UFO Table, which did the Fate Stay Night series, which is why they have some of the best anime fights ever. And I'm gonna get to watch one of their productions in theaters. So that's gonna be so awesome. That's a tangent, but wanted to let y'all know because that explains why I'm matching with one of the characters from Demon Slayer, Gyu Tomioka, and why my background is also a scene from the big fight in episode 19, Tanjiro versus Rui. So, yes.
Okay. You're so fucking cute, Gary.
I know, I'm a nerd.
No, it's cute. No, I know a lot of people like anime.
Steve,
say something.
Steve's like deadpanning it.
God, say something.
Well, you guys were doing such a great job talking. I didn't need to. I didn't. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for the people who threw the super raise.
They always appreciate it.
It's what, Steve?
We really do need the support, especially as we take this into a full-time thing. We had a bunch of cool stuff coming up, and we have people booked out. Like I've got people booked in June right now, just because of the way that their schedule worked.
Get it in the calendar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that after the show.
I've been doing good about getting stuff in the calendar, Josh. I have.
I know.
I've got access to the calendar.
But yeah, lots of good shit coming up. But yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah, man.
There's just really good things going on behind the scenes and that are in the works, and I can't wait to be able to talk a little bit more about that. Big thanks again to Derrick Broze. Make sure that you're checking his stuff out if you haven't already. I'm gonna echo what Jones said. The fact that like that dude has been solution oriented for a decade it is just incredibly commendable. And look, man, it's 10 years of plugging away, and something as like wild as COVID-19 84, and then the movement blew up because people finally got to realize, oh shit, this kid ain't crazy. Like, in the same way that the CIA won't let a good tragedy go to waste, like, dude, we've got to be able to capitalize on moments like this.
Yeah.
We really do. And I just really stoked that that guy's laid a bunch of groundwork, and that there have been, you know, without anybody communicating with each other, like similar projects going on throughout the country, throughout the world. And I really gonna try and make it like a mission of the show to bring a bunch of those people together. So we'll probably be asking you for some help with that. Just because that's how that shit works. But yeah, thanks again to Derrick Broze. Thanks to Ali Alexandra at Glory Jones, my better than your co-host Sleepy Josh on the ones, and to everybody who has been watching and hanging out.
Tech Ninja.
We love the shit out of you, and we will see you very soon. Good luck to us all.
Goodbye.
Love y'all.